So, I lost my voice thanks to your beauties. Now, considering you don't understand what the Hague is, you don't understand that this is extremely old news, and I could see it coming from China on your soil. And considering that the science is left with that girl, there are men who break space and who not are astronauts, as in mathematics, like physics, and they're not theoretical assholes or dark mission assholes in an office with a PhD in astrophysics. They are scientists who do advanced technology, advanced space, advanced math, physics, advanced bombs, bigger than other bombs, who make various engineering feats, not bridges, like modern engineering, and who also do some biochem. Jamila of the 21st century of Delft, July 20, that you smashed by Hague. Hague! So, when they brought back Disneyland, ow! And those corporations, who were that girl when she was flying the runnings on the coastlines, saw in the UN, in Germany, a girl like that, with that kind of brain, coming from Russian Mir, coming from Saudi Mir, with Polish and Egyptian scientists behind her, because of relatives, and other relatives in Russia and Saudi Arabia. With German airspace, still speaking about Jamila, the dead baby with her head smashed on the coast. A genetic aberration. Disneyland replacement. Roosie. You're still denying that. So your psycho cheerleaders are what you are. When I was in Wales when I was 15, on the train, girls would come up to me and give me the wedding rings, the engagement rings, and they'd say, don't get married. If you get married, kill George. Don't get involved with Americans, because their girlfriends are insanely jealous. Their men are fucking psychos, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Mossad, whether they're just fucking cheerleading collective. That's Schadenfreude Jr. That's all fucking 250 Dr. Paris for a paperwork in Germany and Italy for your funny bunnies! Collectively! For Disneyland! You're extras! Old news on the news, darling. This is what America is. On purpose! So while you had your Hotel California fucking fun, the song, that was suing you, not only with the Dr. Parrots. Now, while you sit there and wonder why that kind of science was lost on the coastlines, spectators of the fucking show, and then you brought back Disneyland for a blimp in time in 221, literally the radio after smashing head on the coastlines, and you wonder why particular corn cobs are brought back. And then you wonder about the sciences. That's what I knew long ago. US with your PH fucking Ds. Keep losing the corporations. If you can empty anymore, do it. Especially in science. Space tech, technology, and every fucking science. Cancer included. Any more we can fucking empty from your shit whore's ass country. That's what I learned in the UN, in Germany, in London, in Greenwich, from the professors who are heads of fucking science corporations. In Europe, Western Europe, where I was born and raised. My intelligence comes from Russian Mir and Saudi Mir. There's a stupid times, right? Greenwich Mean Time, 2 high schools, right? Because this third one doesn't exist, right? Because I already have 221, right? Okay. So now you're paying the losses on your own soil. While you were spectators of the show. Now, you're PhDs, you're psycho cheerleaders for Disney. We are suing you, Washington suing you. Continue, fucking asshole. Kill Disney. Just do it. Just do it. Guys! We will sue you billions just for Disney. Billions that you won't be able to count your country. And we'll make it a collective. Which means we're going to show that it's a collective cheerleaders with Shut Up Free Jr. That's already shown. Then we're going to add more. We're going to add, from the beginning, The Hague, the Bureau de Veritas. We're going to add European Federal Tribunal for all of this shit. And then if you kill me, it's going to be one of those Shut Free Jr. kills. It's either going to be the Federal European Tribunal for your front kill, and it's going to be worth billions and billions and billions after so many Crowleys and literal Crowleys of that girl. Psychological, Dr. Paris, that's already we have. That we already have. If you kill me, just for the fun of your cheerleaders, then you know what we're going to do? I don't care if you're Jewish. It's collective. We're going to do something else with this shit. After the smashed head of The Hague, we're going to add maybe even a second Hague for fun. And yes. Reopen national coastlines. Why am I back with those corporations? They do not bring back dead babies genetically. After you smash somebody's head like that in science. In Disney Mode. Explain what 221 was, Delph. July 20th. That you wanted to trash so badly. Well, in Disney Mode. After I smashed and had The Hague. You're not a fucking country, US! Spectators of the show, that's not even mentioning the balance of Fresno Reserve. Fuck off! Tiger kidnaps. I'm going to the opposite. The opposite. I have no clue! If you had bombed the coastlines, if you had done 9/11 on the coastlines, it would have been less harmful than what you lost on the coastlines with The Hague. On your soil. Corporates, Greys and Blacks Intel, new bombs, McFaddians, more bombs, other bombs, Smashstack, and cancer. What you smashed in that girl's head was the leader of the Greys and Blacks, not of the Pinks. With a sharp. What you lost with The Hague is worse than a bomb. Oh, Disneyland! And if I have to come back from the dead, literally, and become a radio for that, connect the dots with white bars and you're still denying it because girls like that don't exist. Fine. In any case, that's not even mentioning the father and the mother. Fine? Okay? Fine? Now, my father and my mother are born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, Norris and Pierce. Give an example because you're fucking retarded. Let's do some geography. Huh? Grandma was Turk. Ma, Russian. Arab, Russian, Arab, Saudi, Turk, Russian, Cairo. And when I was a child, the Saudi Arabians used to say, Egypt, it's Amir that helped you with the sciences. And in Russia, it's Amir that helped you with the Polish academic pink shit. Now, what they're saying is that that's what's empty on the coastlines. That's why the Germans were speaking about airspace. Till today, Basel with their children and others, and Italians and Brits in the inner circles, because they're scientists. They're not going to be sitting there and watching a girl like that go to her death after so many flyings and runnings, defending the parents in Fresno, and the jobs were elsewhere. This is where you are not going to be able to wash your hands off this shit. The science is elsewhere. It's not fucking Fresno. Now, It's just that you're mentally retarded and you don't understand what the Hague is and what you lost on the coastlines and that you're not fucking perfect on the coastlines and that you could see a fucking careening from China on the coastlines and you're still fucking denying it on your own soil, coastlines. And that shit is what we call the holy grail in the CIA. Because if that shit is empty, it means that your fucking problem, your internal problem, whatever other fucking problem, whether it's Jewish, whether it's Mossad or whatever, and it is collective. Again, why? Because if your college kids are seeing something like that and then they see her head smashed in on the coastlines and they don't give a shit and they only notice in this country when that shit's empty and then even deny it because they don't believe that such girls exist, then a smashed in head replica, which is not even her, only with the eyebrows, because everything else is different about this girl, except for the eyebrows and the nails and everything else, is what we call a mask. And it's very unusual to bring back any genetics, whether it's pink or blues, after a smashed in head on the coastlines. They said in Germany and in other places that because you are impressed by the Germans, because the first thing that comes to your mind is lack of thinking. Lack of thinking is yours. And this is why we call you retards. And so if I use the word retards to you, then you send more psychos. No, you're just what you are, US. Your professors in Princeton, Harvard, and Yale will not reopen those things. Neither will the professors on the West Coast, because they're academicians in science. They will look at you as if you are assholes and bitches, what you are, irregardless of how much your fucking daddies and mummies pay for your fucking education. While I, after the Hague and before the Hague, had the fucking free education in high school, because I was something else, and in college, because I was something else. And when my head was smashed in on the coastlines, the education in high school were the president's kids. No one knows why, right? And with the, at 15, I was already in college for free. Even if I already had been through the Hague, and I was a replacement genetic anomaly of space tech and science. I do not belong with the politicians' kids. I belong with the international high schools in Rome, because that's what I was. But for some odd reason, they put me there. So this is not a Jodie Foster movie with your federal prisoners stalking me. This is not a funfair with your cheerleaders deciding whether I live or die in Disneyland. But because that's already on paperwork, with Schadenfreude Jr., with the Dr. Parrots and your psycho stalkers, you have no fucking clue what they're going to do to you now. Especially after the coastlines Hague. That part was the science that you lost with the smashed in head on the coastlines. And I'm enjoying this because it's your corporations that are emptying in your fucking country. While your Mossad and your other bitches, your stupid bitches, your college bitches, who used to be jealous of this girl, still jealous of a dead baby because you're fucking sick and you're sending the sick ones towards me, the psycho stalkers. All of this is on paperwork, including the Hague of Dirk Jan van Dam already. You want to add a second Hague for your fucking cheap-ass fun. Your cheerleader, Schadenfreude Jr., just for Disneyland 221. We will see you again. And more. Now, getting back to what I was saying before, Mademoiselle's genius says, you don't know about the blues after smashed in head? You will not. Because after smashing somebody's head in on the coastlines, there's no byproduct in blues. Rarely pink. Now you know how stupid you are and what you lost on the coastlines. Or shall I say retarded with your psychos? Let's continue. Connect thoughts worldwide to globals is the sciences. After the Hague of that girl. That's why they know. Anyway, this is not mentioning the father and the mother. The father and the mother are born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. Thus, they're very dark. The original child before the Hague may have had that darkness. But no more. Now, I didn't expect the rest of the world to remember that baby, but they did. I didn't expect them to know about the nails. I didn't expect them to know about the eggs. I didn't expect them to see them hidden in the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods, where people with no high school speaking about the poorest areas on the planet in that many countries. Speaking about, she's dead, she's back, she's Disney, and then seeing the blues crawl out. So when we say beggars in the US, you're beggars. For Moscow, for Saudi Arabia, for the German airspace, for Warsaw Internationals, for London, for Rome. The Dar es Salaam neighborhoods see blues come out of nowheres, alleys, poverty-ridden, stricken places. In Poland and in other places, it was embassies, still alleys, but still embassies. Sometimes in the center of the consulates, the blues, like Korea and other places. But when I went to the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods, and I spent long enough on my little crawlies there, the blues came out in the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods. And that was in Russia and Arabia's, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. That tells me everything. It tells me that the people know. Now, they knew in London and Rome, but they're not my countries. They knew in Western Europe, where I was born and raised and educated and had my entire life of education living there, the parents working there, my friends, my childhood friends, gymnastics, the trainings, traveling to Africa and around the capital cities. In other words, Europe, the schools, the corporations, were all in Europe, Western Europe, and the UN. Not in your cheap ass US. And I was close to Arabia, and I was close to Russia, and that's what you are, cheap ass. And I am not afraid to tell you that, because they never bring back dead babies with a Hague on those lines. Ever. You made such a mistake with the Hague on those lines that you couldn't admit it. And when you brought me back as Disney mode on 221, you showed your cheerleaders. And it doesn't take much in California. You'll have stupid people, uneducated people, Zionists, Jews, chulas, white trash, white not trash, white bitches that are racist, blacks who have some fucking problem with whites, or Asians who have it up their ass. In other words, it doesn't take much to collect a bunch of assholes for Schadenfreude Jr. on purpose. It doesn't take much to have a visa meal at CLA for Jews. That's how you keep it open, right? Even if you're Turk. That's not intel. The Mossad, that's not intel. Anybody can have muscle. Anybody can have anything there. The good part is it's slap bang in the middle of San Francisco, which means there's a lot other intel here. I'm just telling you that your country loses for supporting the wrong groups. Not just with AIPAC, for Israel and Palestine. No. And not for the world war it's what's going to start, and it's going to start in the US. It's not going to be a civil war that you're seeing right now with revolutions, which is 1,000,000 times worse than the Vietnam War, pre-Vietnam War and during Vietnam War. No. What's going to happen in the US is going to be much worse. And no amount of Jewish-Israeli history cover-up is going to change it. There are only two countries that support Israel, and the Jews and the Zionists. American Fitch. Literally in the ICJ. So if you have every other single country wanting Israel in the Hague. Now, what happened on the coastlines to that girl was the Hague. Which means that the intelligence you lost was big. Because otherwise it would have been just death. Okay, you killed the girl. It means that what you lost on the coastlines was big enough in science to vouch for a crime of intel so high with those sciences and those corporations, that was. With that kind of science, that's the Hague. So, right now, I'm just going to tell you why I came back. And that's all news on the news. And this is gone with the wind like there's no tomorrow. So the Skokland film and Radio Global by now. Okay? Not that I come to this country for your psycho bitch stalkers. And you think I enjoy it? I don't. Do you think Grabsky and Heine, when Heine was Jewish too from Hells Angels, went to London and Poland? Grabsky's Jewish. He's Ukrainian. He killed Polish people. He killed 2 Polish people. That guy's not Polish. He's an Ukrainian Nazi. He's Jewish, to add. He was in London. He was one of those stalkers with those tattoos who had fallen in love with the same guy who should kill me in London and Poland. Had gone mad. Other than the usual suicides in front of the universities, 25 of them in other countries. He had all the tattoos. I fell in love with you. I fell in love with you. That's psych shit. That's psych shit, Heine. Don't play with fire, you fucking retards in the US. especially with Disney. So you can feel like woman and man while the shit's going on the coastlines. If you think this is a Jodie Foster movie in high school. In other words, what I'm telling you is, this is old news on the news. So it's not that they're saying there's something actually wrong with me that I shouldn't have someone. They're saying that you're assholes and bitches and whores and cheerleaders. That's what they're saying. They're saying that what happened on the coastlines, these are extras, that what happened on the coastlines left the proverbial void. The Vatican is telling me, left the proverbial void. In science, there was a girl who was leading that ship. The ship, you had your head smashed in, the ship fell with her long ago and left. On your soil. In other words, if you had dropped a bomb on your shit horse country or 9/11 bomb on 2 financial buildings, it would have been better because what you lost on the coastlines was bigger than that. In other words, when you lose intel of that kind and those buildings are empty, it's worse than a bomb. You don't have the Mac variants anymore. You don't have the space tech anymore. You don't have any of that shit anymore. And you don't even have sheep-ass cancer in pink. And that's the old news on the news. So when I say ship keep emptying, let them. Because when they said in the basements around the world in the metros that the scientists got sick of the shit, and that shit is empty already, and that's old news on your news, you could see coming careening, and those people knew that that was going to die on your coastlines, your own fucking coastlines, eventually careening, right? While you were sitting on your fat ass as spectators of the show, and then, oh, they left. If there's going to be others, it's your problem. My science is gone. If there's anybody else, it's your problem. By now, you CIA. Completely CIA! On your own soil! Sure! Now, wouldn't it have been better to have the beautiful horn alive on the coastlines rather than the Hague? Martian head, I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot. Do you know how ugly you are to have to bring back a dead girl with a smashed head on the coastlines as Disneyland? Shut up! You speak to me about German airspace? Keep dreaming about German airspace! We're emptying that shit! Oh, bring the corporations in, darling. You're gonna be the pinup girl. I'm gonna be the pinup girl. You're gonna be pinup girl from Russia. What? Saudi Arabia. What? UN. What? Western Europe. What? UN corporations. What? British inner circles, Martin Snowden, the head of sciences. What? Let's put it this way. You did too many flyings and runnings. You had your head smashed in on the coastlines. You were in the US long ago. You were working with them many times before. In stupid times. And then what happened eventually? Oh. She had her head smashed in on the coastline. Spectators on the show! Spectators! Bye! Send your psycho to Disneyland. Go ahead, you fucking retard. Wait to fucking sue you $1 billion with Schadenfreude Jr. just for your shit. And as for if it's a kid, even worse. Disneyland. Show your true colors, shine through high school. No wonder I didn't talk to anybody in Disney more. Check it out, oh. Train poodle in the house with the parents. Passion. So much for whittling that shit on the coastlines, huh? Even speaking about whittling that shit on the coastlines, are you capable? What you lost, you lost. You won't be able to reopen it, but you can whittle it. Just like you can whittle the smashing head on the coastlines. Stay out of this fucking connection. That's not whittling. That's just solving the problem altogether. Scotland film and radio. That's not even mentioning Papa and Mama and friends of retirement. That many flies. That many rallies. Let's just call it doesn't exist. Hold on. In a blip of time, Disneyland. Now, if you want me to explain to you how after the Hague this pink and blues pink, it's understandable after smashing head on the coastline blues don't ask. But quite frankly, from a point of view of scientists and religions, that's technically a smashing head on the coastline that came on the bus. Now, if they did do these blues as these eggs, Now that's science. That is science. Now what the fuck you lost on the ghost lines after smashing head on the ghost lines? If that's the relics, with the Hague, the whole fucking Europe up my ass for 221, even the Opus Dei and the boat, and I'm like, we are partisans. We will adopt you even if you were Chinese. That was some fucked up science. That was beautiful science. That was something else. This. Okay. And there was a ship. I see, and now I'm the pin-up girl. Not all, but you're like a banana boat. So in other words, by now, the CIA should understand that irregardless of our long history together, stupid times or before, I don't only speak about stupid times, sorry, 2 or 3 high school bus. We're not going into other presidents and other times. We're saying these times. Okay, stupid times. So, for these last 2 high schools, 3 high schools, okay? So what we're saying is, with this history, and then eventually my head gets smashed in on the ghost lines. I am not going to waste my time with you fucking retards. And as you said, you're fucking psycho cheerleader. That's it. Not because they're doing it on purpose for fun, just to torture the child. Yes. And Schadenfreude Jr. and the hatred from Fresno and the hatred towards the Barons, the hatred towards me, the psycho stalkers that went here into London. Yeah. Right. His bully. So when you show that on paperwork with the Dr. Parrot, when you show that, when you show the extras, that's not how you make, Resta Roma. For the Barons to stay in Rome for retirement, for me to stay in Rome. That's not how you create it. This is how you kill Disney. This is how you bring more terror to Disney after the smashed and had at The Hague. So your paperwork in Western Europe, whether it's The Hague, whether it's the sciences, whether it's the corporation, the ship, the scientists that left with her, the big ship to boat, yeah, it left. The scientists will not be working with such animals. And they are animals. And I don't care if this Mossad or white, it's collective. Why? Because they could see it from fucking China. And that science doesn't grow on trees or microchips. Neither do those corporations. Remember, this was the female from Russia and Saudi Arabia who in stupid times was with those corporations in the basements in the UN. I was the crippled one. The one they said had done that and had her head smashed in on the West Lines and came back as Disney. This is not a lie. Making a Disney particular corn cob after The Hague is nothing. But they're sitting watching spectators of the show. Everyone knows this shit around the world. This is old news on the news about Disneyland. This is how ugly these fuckers are. They're even sending psychos against this one. This is what the US is while they're getting their fucking PhDs. That mission won't fucking make a dent. Cheap asshole Jew in an office who dies. What the fuck died on the bus lines with The Hague? That shit left a dent. And that's what's famous. That's the science. They hate me till today. This is the US. Cheerleading psychos. Keep on going. Now, US with your PhDs. Your professors will not reopen that shit in the Ivy Leagues on the East Coast or here. The science is gone. Even the easy pick of cancer will not open for your fucking ass. This is what you are. So, you're Jewish. I don't give a shit no more whether you're Jewish or not Jewish collectively. That's it. Fini. So that's the paperwork for the baby. And who knows what else they'll find to add to the paperwork and stuff like that. If you killed me for your fun, I don't know how intelligence after losing that shit, how they feel about it, how the Pope feels about it. Plum and dime. Science. The radio after the smashing head on the ghost line sciences. I don't give a shit. And if that was a pin-up girl with those guys on the ghost lines, you better watch out. You better not cry. The shit's emptying while I'm talking to you. You a genius on the corporations. You a genius off the ship to yacht. You a genius happened long ago, and you still want to make it worse because I'm a patriot. I'm not willing. I just want to be a bitch to Disneyland because Disneyland is telling us that was lost on ghost lines and others left with her, but we were the spectators of the show and didn't give a shit about it when it was alive. So now we have another pick after a smashed and had on those lines. So this is how they showed it. When they showed why you hate Disney, Disney showing you that in intel communities, if there's a Hague on the both sides of Dirk-Jan van Dam, it means it was a big loss of science. Not just a federal court speaking about, or something. It was something big. Okay? Now, when you still deny that shit, and that's not even mentioning Fresno for the parents with the hanging benches, Laura Quintus and Lonnie Drake, defending both parents for their humanitarian relief services jobs. So this is what the US is. That's how they lost the science and the corporations on those lines. When I came back as a pin-up girl of that show, on those lines, you started. So they say, why don't we just say roll 4 times? That's not even mentioning the parents of Fresno. That's it. Now the verbal vitriol, the hate, the whole shit, it's over. You pay for it. You don't give a shit. Because I'm too arrogant to say, I am like China. I am like Russia. I am like Germany. Where in science? The majority of Americans don't know what the fuck science is in space tech. The Germans were doing space tech in Germany in the 1950s. The Russians and the Chinese nowadays in the 21st century are pretty up. There's even Saudi Mir with the cash. They're not only. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. That's what you lost on the coastlines of the 21st century. That was July 21st century, not 1950s. That's not even mentioning father and the mother and the jobs. The girl used to do sciences with those corporations. That's why they say that Poland is pink, and Egypt is pink, and Russia and Saudi Arabia are gray and black. But that's all news on news. That's what you smash the head on the coastlines. And now Disneyland has to put up with you. I hate you, bitch! Cheerleaders on electric crawlies. I don't care if they come from Fresno, they're here. I don't care if they're mentally retarded, they're here. I don't care, you allowed them collectively to follow me, to stalk me. Like Heine and the others. They are federal prisoners from San Quentin. Regardless of this, from Fresno or from Modeste. They even went to London Boat Exile. For me. Now they're showing who the fuck you are as a nation. As people. That's not how you make Roman for Rome. That's not how you make the parents stay in Rome for retirement. These cheap assholes doing that. Yes! You're gonna have to admit this shit! You're gonna admit what the fuck happened on the both sides. Exactly. With the go and what about for that's a question? Is that a question for parents? You are gonna fucking pay for this shit. Because you're not gonna make a scrambled egg out of this one and send it back and forth on the Greyhound for over 20 years, all over the capital cities around the world. So, and airplanes and in between the East Coast and the West Coast, that's what they're saying. You're not doing this shit no more. You're not doing this shit no more. You're not having fun with this shit. You have Scotland Film and Radio Global. You know perfectly well who the fuck the intelligence of Fresno is. It's sheep whores asses from the very beginning to the very end. You've looked at the girlfriends with the 5X bras. We studied them. We studied even the nurses in London and in Rome. No, they're not interested in sex. They're making a joke out of those women. If you think men like 5X bras in a lab, the only thing a man likes of a 5X bra is a fuck. And if you think that any scientists, any fucking flyers and runners give a shit about a 5X bra in a lab other than a quick fuck, then you have it all wrong, you stupid man and woman. Fucking retarded woman. You are so retarded as females that I can't even speak the most basic truth to you. I'm going to kill them in Disney format after the smash the head on the ghost night. I don't give a shit if you bring me back after the Hague in Disney format. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if my hair falls out. I don't give a shit if my nails break in Fresno. I don't give a shit if my teeth stop falling out when I'm older because of Fresno. I don't give a shit. Disneyland doesn't give a shit. You didn't burn that down! Including the governors with the 5X bras. And if they want to say Havana to be politically correct or 696969 all over the capital cities, including Western Europe, then you go ahead. I've seen this shit ever since I was 5 years old. In Disney mode, exactly. That's how a 5-year-old degenerate like me after the Hague had to grow up knowing this shit. But you see, knowledge is knowledge. Is it? That's all news on the news, isn't it? So, when you get a PhD, make sure that it's not just a piece of paper, as in research, especially after the Hague in pink. I wouldn't mention the blues. Why? Because quite frankly, after I smashed in head on the coastlines, the scientists said, we're not giving them out that shit. We gave them the basics and they sent their bitch shores Psycho Collective. That's what history was. That's what you lost on the coastlines. Goodbye. So come back. Come back from what? I smashed in head on the coastline. Are you Jewish? You're gassed. For 3,000 years you were gassed. Killed. Your history of Judaism. Shut up. Thank you on the coastlines. Wait a minute. There was a collective here. There was a collective because I could see it coming like a fucking from the other side of China on the coastlines. You did how you allowed that shit to happen in the loss of the scientists and of course Fresno. What about retirements have nothing to do with that because the science is a corporation, and Fresno is Fresno, and yeah, and the jobs. And the job, yes, that's the little thing that I'd like to point out still to today through miniature me after the coastlines accident, is that Fresno after so many flies, right? You know, have you ever seen of delayed response coming out of Fresno? In other words, I'll tell you one thing. I am 51 and I have been through so much fucking shit as Disneyland. Bad enough on the inside, but as Disney, the replacement child. And that's not even mentioning for the parents, the pains for the parents, because there's a train pool in the house. You will not want to know this shit. After the hate on the coastlines of that girl. Let me put it this way. If there's a ship that becomes a yacht, and the science is a corporation. And if you have such degenerates like Fresno, with their own version of intelligence, Fresno, for the barons of retirements, this is what you get. And if you have others who are, for any reason, will give a shit about that shit on the coastlines, who are not patriots, and allow federal prisoners, even in San Francisco, to follow, like Jody Wilson or whatever. The reason this happens is simple. It's not only the arrogance. No. It's not only I want to call it racism because the only thing Jamila has in common with the original self is the eyebrows. Let's remember that a smashed and had Hague with those guys took away the sciences from your country. A lot. And they were corporations too. In the UN, yeah. In Germany even. German corporations helped this guy. Aerospace. But not Jewish. Not American. Not Palantir. Because the AI. Much worse than Palantir. This was something else. So in fact, the United Kingdom blocked every Palantir with Thiel. There's no business in the UK with Thiel. Palantir. They don't have one thing from Palantir. If anything, it's the UK selling Big Brother the cameras to the US. You see? And not vice versa. You understand that? I didn't come from London, from the Portage country of London. I came from Russia and from Saudi Arabia and from the UN. Germans are speaking about that girl. So today, and I'm dead. That's already empty. You understand? That's the old news on the news, going with the wind. So, yeah. How much should we... all that pain, hatred for Disneyland. After the smashed in head with the sciences, after all, they're going to reopen this shit. After the Hague, science and corporations! On your soil, you fucking retards! That's not even mentioning the parents of Fresno! You retards! Scotland from Atlantic Global, goodbye! No! Retard! Finish with this shit. Country does have no brains. Finish! By now. Your losses on your soil.